Engaging spokespeople, I think, is a very important part of a community's campaign. And I think you want to involve all of your top leaders who know the most about your community. But I also think you want to involve some non-traditional partners. Young people are great spokespeople. They come to the issue with fresh new language, tend to be much more energized about it, and can really rally people around the cause, as well as bring people to your event. I also think that people from the business community or veterans or artists are a great addition to what people traditionally see as just kind of a nonprofit campaign. If you bring these new people's voices into it, it becomes much more relevant to a broader group of people. One of the most compelling examples of a good use of a spokesperson that I've seen has been the use of young vets at events around community issues, not necessarily around the war. Young vets have a very credible position. They've experienced the war. They didn't go into it with a political agenda. And when they come out, and if they are somewhat politicized, it's a very, very credible message. I also think that I've seen some filmmakers and artists who have been able to change the whole tenor of the conversation in a community meeting or in a campaign rally by speaking to some of the core issues that I think we sometimes forget when we get involved in all of the policy debates and the particulars of our issues. I think there are three key factors to a successful event. The first one is really being relevant to your audience. The second one is being organized behind the scenes. And the third one is capturing the people that attend. The first, relevance. I think there's so many creative ways that people have leveraged cultural capital in their communities to mobilize citizens around a message locally and nationally. In terms of being relevant, organizations should really tap into the cultural capital that exists in their communities. There are sports teams, there are bands, there are artists, there are book clubs, there are a whole range of activities that are already taking place where people are organized and someone is already organizing them that you can bring to bear on your event. There are a lot of examples of cultural relevance, I think, that took place in the 2004 elections. Music for America, Move On, League of Young Voters, League of Hip Hop Voters, all of these groups tapped into local cultural capital where people are already organized, they're already gathering, and usually they already have someone who's organizing them, and you can just tap into them, work with them, get them involved in your event, shaping some of the message, stay focused on your goals, but tap into this local resource, and those folks are a great asset to a local campaign. Many of these organizations are also tied into national campaigns. And I think by linking to either a national ad and then having a conversation after it, or a national performance that's on TV and then having some sort of a local event that's tied into it, brings your local effort to a much larger scale, helps the participants understand that they're part of something bigger, and at the same time attracts press that may not have been focused on a smaller effort. When you partner with a lot of organizations, which helps get your message out, that requires a lot of organization. And I think one of the key things that people need to do is A, be very, very focused on what their ultimate goals are, and B, be very organized behind the scenes. You should have a database of press contacts. You should have a list of different partners and who you're linking to at what point, who's in charge of which pieces. The more you can sort of delegate your work, but also be organized behind the scenes, the better. Capturing your audience is really critical, and I think it's about directing them very specifically to a call to action that fits your needs and issues. So if you want volunteers, make sure at your national event that you're going to have someone going around signing up volunteers. Better yet, have your announcer announce a phone number or an email where everyone can sign up. If you want donors, this is your opportunity to get those. And I think too often we squander large events or large long-term campaign activities with great partnerships, great message, but we don't actually gather the troops behind us and bring them into the fold to help us reflect that message largely. One of the common mistakes that I think activists make is not having a designated press person or a point of contact. With all these different partnerships and different people involved in a particular event or a series of activities, the press is not going to know who to go to. You really need to have one person who's going to be responsible for building these relationships over the long term, following what kinds of interests these particular press people have, thinking of opportunities to involve them. If you don't have the resources in your own organization, which many people don't, there may be another organization that's a partner who already has a press person who could spend, a quarter or an eighth of their time on this. Let me give you an example of an organization that I think leveraged local cultural capital very successfully on behalf of a national campaign and on behalf of their local efforts. Bring Ohio Back organized a celebrity tour the last month of the voter registration in Ohio, and they brought in celebrities from across the country who had some connection to Ohio. A lot of times people don't think celebrities are great spokespeople, but if you get Steve Buscemi out at some bowling alley on a Saturday afternoon, bowling alley that would normally be completely empty, and you advertise it well enough, trust me, that bowling alley will be filled with people. And we found that many of them had not ever registered to vote. They came to see Steve Buscemi, but we got them to register to vote. It's really important to get people involved in your campaign and in your events. The more people that you can get engaged, the better. I think for too long, progressive activists have been fighting the good fight, but too often their language, the way they're describing what they're doing, the issues that they're covering, just don't seem to resonate with the public in any kind of meaningful and compelling way. When you can get recruits, volunteers, donors, supporters, voices behind your campaign, you're going to be that much more successful in the long term.